All good.
Oh my goodness! All right, everybody. This is episode 141 of the Intel Beer Rigging Show. We've been doing this almost 3 years now, Grandpa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. On and off.
I'm not too long.
Yeah, man. Well, as we all know, we rate beers and talk about stuff. But we got a guest today, Nancy Smith. I work with her on a contract for a company that I won't mention because I don't want y'all in my business. You on mute, Nancy?
Yeah, I wanted to meet just in case. I have dogs and they act crazy every now and then.
Oh, okay. Well, what we normally do is we get our beers first and rate them. Grandpa, what you got?
Oh, I treated myself.
Oh, you did? Is that what is that? That's something different.
Rollage.
Okay.
This ain't the 6-pack. This is the one they got 4 in the pack.
Okay, so
with the snap tops on it.
You didn't spend more than $1 on beer today.
Yeah, rollage. Just snap top. I would tell you what the alcohol is. By the way, but I can't see.
All right, it's all right.
Yeah.
The alcohol, I bet you it's probably like around 5%.
5%? Okay.
Probably around that. But let me see. I'm trying to look it up for you, Grandpa. You probably gonna find it before I do.
The Pilsner beer is
Yeah. You ain't got the binoculars? Binoculars?
I got the magnifying glass out.
Magnify. There we go. I was glad you said that. I was searching for the word. Well, why you rate? What's your pre-rating? While you thinking about what that is, Grandpa?
Oh, I had the one before. I'm giving it a 6.5.
All right, it's not bad. That's pretty high for you.
When I do that, on something I know about.
That's something serious for Grandpa. Grandpa don't rate stuff over 5 half the time. So.
Oh man.
Yeah, to start out with.
Oh well, let me see. I don't know why I brought this for a can that you can just pop the top open, but I got this thing I found at the liquor store called Beer for Tacos.
Oh,
so, beer for tacos. Eh?
Yeah, it's a ghost style beer with lime juice and salt added. So
yeah, that sounds pretty good. Lime juice and salt.
Yeah, it sounds like a fancy Corona. That's what
it does.
It smells nice. I will say, I'm gonna do what Grandpa did. I'm gonna start off with a 6.5. What the heck? It don't matter. Got to do the pour because people get so. Nancy, you never been on there before, but people be getting mad because Grandpa get out of a glass and I don't be getting out of a glass to pour a beer sometimes.
There you go. You gotta get a pour. Good pour.
They want to be like, you gotta pour it. What are you doing? It's like one
guy. I
might
have to write that down. Beer for tacos. See if I can find that here.
There's one guy in particular who be mentioning this on the chat after the episodes. I don't think he sees them live sometimes. And he be like, there go Josh now pouring in the glass again. Being specific. It smells like you can smell the citrus, the lime. So they weren't lying. They put some lime in there, some type of fruit. You got anything, Nancy?
I have water. I have water because if I drink beer, then I'm gonna drink a couple of beers, and I still gotta work.
Oh, here's Uncle Pooh. Couldn't be left out. Hey Uncle Pooh, are you fat Freddy today? I see you got your Hoagie shirt on.
Yeah, that's a better day. You're right. Let me update.
Uncle Pooh, this is this is my friend, co-worker Nancy.
Hey, how are you?
She came on the show today. Grandpa got he got a fancy beer. He got a beer that you got to pop the top on.
Roche.
Yeah, he trying. He spent more than $1.
You're going to have to look it up and tell me where it's made. I thought it was a European beer, but I can't find it on it.
I think it is too. I think it's like, I don't know, Swedish or German or something. What you got, Pooh?
A Bourbon County. You know what it is.
This
is 2020. So a couple of years old. This is just a regular base Bourbon County. 14. Say it again.
I said, you still drinking the garbage, eh? I got the good stuff here.
That's the good stuff. I don't want none of that garbage can. I'd rather keep mine.
Uncle Pooh, I found this beer for tacos. If you never heard of it,
I have it. I have it.
it's so it's a Gauche or GOSE style beer with lime juice and salt added, and it to me it smells and tastes like a fancy Corona.
A fancy Corona. That sounds terrible.
No, I mean like if you took a Corona base and then doctored it up with like a splash of maybe a little bit of tequila in there and put some salt in it with lime, that's if you doctored it up a little bit, it's not bad.
That smells great.
I'll probably still, huh?
Freddie, did you get my happy birthday?
Nah, you text me or something?
Yeah, I mean, I sent it, but I don't know how to do it. So it highlighted, but mine was in blue, and and everybody else is, just regular messaging.
Yeah. Okay, you sent it in the group.
Poor. He's like just regular messaging.
Yeah, you sent it in the group. I saw it. My bad.
What did it say?
Happy birthday, right?
Did it say it was happy birthday? What?
Oh, maybe I didn't see it. Hold on.
Dang, he didn't test you. You didn't see his happy birthday message?
Shit, I got to check.
Grandpa got one. He want his receipt. He knows what it says.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Hey, Grandpa, why you got riddles right now? What's it supposed to mean? This is a threat type of birthday message?
No, I was trying to I got to get in that group. All the boys had checked their thing, and I didn't know how to do it,
Okay.
So
I don't see you in here.
That's why I was wondering, because I got it on my thing, but I don't know. I messed up.
I'll come over there and fix it.
Yeah, happy birthday, Pooh, Dad.
Yeah, you got that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I'm glad, because I didn't know. Mine was in blue and everybody else's wasn't.
That's just everybody on the call got iPhone, Dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you see the green bubbles.
How do I get in that group of 4?
You in
the group.
All right.
You in the group. That's how I got the message.
I'm in the group.
Well, this is the show, Nancy. Sometimes we get into
topics.
It's all good.
Yeah. This is. I just sent you a text just now. It should be and that's in the group.
Wow. Okay.
It's exciting pace stuff over here.
I'm telling you, like last week we were on it, but Grandpa just he controlled the show.
He controls the flow. Whoa.
I'm just the cameraman. Wherever he wants to go with it. But
I was about to divert and say that I see Mary McLeod Bethune on your wall back there. I went to Bethune-Cookman.
All right.
Yeah. I know that face.
Trying to stay out the way. I'm in the way.
Yeah, man.
I missed something because I don't hear too good and don't see too good either.
Oh, I was telling him that I see Mary McLeod Bethune on his wall, and I went to Bethune-Cookman University. That's where I graduated from.
Awesome. On his wall. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on his wall.
That's cool.
So you see that everywhere. Her story is incredible. She's incredible.
Yeah,
it is.
She really is. That's awesome. What did you graduate in? What are we talking about today, Sean? I don't know.
Well, I got a few things. We can do Nancy's intro first. Nancy, give us a little background.
I didn't know how long y'all been. My
bad. Drop the gym.
Let me see if I can give a background. So I'm Nancy Smith. I went to an HBCU. I don't know. I'm 40 years old. I work in IT, so I work in tech. I have a couple of jobs in tech. My main job, I am in senior management. And one of my main jobs, and then the job that I work in with Sean, I do some other type of. I don't know what I do in that job, but I don't know what my role is. I know what my role is supposed to be. I don't know what I'm actually doing.
She know that check clear. That's what she know about everything.
That's what I know. Check comes on time. Okay, that's what I care about. But I live in the DC area. I love beer. I also love wine, and I love working out. So. That's a little bit about me.
That's nice, man. I was like, when I met Nancy, I'm sorry, Grandpa, what you say?
What does GT mean?
What does what mean?
I thought you said something GT.
I said I'm in the DC area.
Oh,
All good.
Yeah, I met Nancy on project, and like it was one of those. It was funny because I had messaged her privately. I was just like, you know how when you a black person, you can hear someone's voice, but you don't see them. And you like, I was like, I don't know, I won't be too far, but are you? She's like, oh, I can tell you, because you know it's so rare to find them on project. You know, it's kind of like a reunion. Like when
Yeah.
when I got in my group, it was two other black dudes, but we didn't know we were like other ones were black. Then we all messaged each other like, "Hey, Sean." They're like, they actually got to me later first. They're like, "Sean, are you black?" And I was like, "Yeah." It was funny. It was just one of those things, man. But it was. But, but Nancy was she steady dropped some gems on me about the consulting game and like kind of how to go about it. And I was just like, oh, I gotta have you on the show. You got some gems to drop.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know I want to talk about one thing that because the one thing that's really important. I think could probably wait for later. But we do want to go over some topics first. So what's it called? So one of my friends was talking about how they were trying to move in Ohio the other day, right? And apparently Intel is moving half their staff from California to Ohio, and it's completely shifted the property value in the area. So I think I saw like a month or so ago the cost of living in Ohio, excuse me, to get like a 2-bedroom apartment was like $19 an hour, right, for like the average person. And now it's like, so they gave 3 examples. They bid on a few houses, lost them all. One house is overbid 100K cash. Another was overbid 80K cash, and I think the last one, I guess Intel came in and just started buying up the rest of the houses in that area, just cash money, and that completely shifted the property value, everything in the area. So I'm just like, it's not going to be unusual. Like you see these corporations, they see people moving to different areas for cheap. They try to do the same thing too, and that's just wild to me. Like is that like tampering? Like how do you do that? Like is that like how legal is that you can just shift the entire economy of an area?
It's not. But you know what? The same thing is happening here. Like DC has always been expensive. The Northern Virginia area has always been pretty expensive. But Amazon just moved to Arlington. They have a headquarters there now. You can't get a house in Arlington for less than $1 million. Like, good luck if you do. Like maybe you'll find something for like 700,000 and that'll be like a 2-bedroom house in that area. There's no affordable. I think Amazon pledged to have some affordable housing in the area because they've priced people out. The other thing is Redfin does the same thing. Redfin and Zillow purchase homes and they
Yep.
falsely drive up the cost of living. So they falsely drive up home sales, like home prices and comps. So they'll buy a house that is over market value, and then when someone does the comps for that area, they'll see that they'll see strategic places where those houses are higher, and then that drives the property value up for these places, but falsely drives it up. So there was like this big thing on TikTok about it, about how Redfin does that as well. But yeah, these corporations are doing this all over, especially because they can be somewhere cheaper. They can pay cheaper taxes in an area. The property that they get is likely cheaper, and people are remote. They tell these companies they're revitalizing an area or they're building it. They're not companies, these cities and states that they're going to revitalize an area. But really, what they're doing is gentrifying and pushing people who would normally be able to afford to live there out. So this is gonna continue to happen all over.
Yeah, and apparently it's legal.
Hmm.
So there was some conversation because what you find is they go into the area when they're overbidding $100,000, $200,000 above. It turns out they own 40, 50 of the other houses in the area. So they're just raising the portfolio's value. And I'm
Yep.
assuming they're taking loans out on that money and doing what they do with it.
Yep.
That's interesting though. I can't believe that it's legal, but how would you stop it though? Like how
I
could you
mean,
stop it?
you'd have to have an airtight community where you're like, you know,
$100,000, Sean. Y'all just moved in. You selling that house?
Yeah, because like if somebody offered me $100,000 more than what my house was worth, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm walking away with X
I'm
amount of
gone.
value. You're gonna buy my house for this amount? no one in their right mind would turn down that amount of money. I'm not gonna be thinking about my neighbors and what that does to them in the future. I'm gonna take that money and roll. So that's how they get away with
But
it.
look, your neighbors who own in the area, they'd be like, "Girl, if you didn't buy, we was gonna fight. And if you didn't
Yeah.
sell, we fight because I want my house to be worth
Yeah,
that."
exactly. It's actually happened in my neighborhood. Redfin has sold a couple of homes in my neighborhood. And all of us are like, did you see what that house just sold for? So now I know what my house can go for. Like we all do it.
Don't trip.
So
I'll be all in.
yeah.
Like, what? It's sold for. I'm like, let somebody come and ask me for that.
Yep.
I guess that's a good point. I mean, I wouldn't tell them no, but I mean, especially since you know how we done lucked up. Like, so we lived on the east side of Detroit, me and my wife, or my wife and I. That's how you say it, to be grammatically correct. And we bought that house for like 85 grand. And it was on there for a couple of years, and we sold it for 195. So I was just like, we done lucked up, man, because it's the east side of Detroit is not as bad as people make it out to be. But the legend of it was why houses were so cheap when I was over there. And the house was actually a pretty nice sized house. It was like 1,800 square foot, 2-story house. So that's not bad. Like you said, like in Arlington, that's a $750,000 house right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's laughable. Like there are some places where you can't. I think right now the going rate of a 1-bedroom apartment is like $2,000 a month for rent. I'm like, that's more than my mortgage for an apartment. Like, it's ridiculous.
Pops, what was the value of the houses when what was the value of the house when you bought yours?
For me,
Yeah,
you talking?
you.
You going back since 1955.
how much was the house in 1955?
$11,000.
Oh wow.
$1,000.
Wow.
That
That
was hey,
was because the job market wasn't too good. They were laying off and everything. People buy a house, and all of a sudden, it don't seem like $11,000 don't seem like much money, which it ain't. But the hourly rate at that particular time was I think I was working at the post office at the time, and I couldn't qualify because I was making about $1.50 an hour.
Oh wow.
Whereas in the factory they were paying $1.87. So I had to use a factory thing in order to qualify for for government GI home.
What was the mortgage? Like, what was your mortgage payment for $11,000?
Pack of beer.
You see, with tax, it was 56 I think it was.
Oh wow.
a month.
That's wild.
And then with the then they went up to 73. A lot of people couldn't handle that. From 56 to 73 don't sound like nothing.
Yeah.
That was rather living in a starving.
So what that difference is probably what, a couple of $100 now?
What's that?
Like if somebody's mortgage was your mortgage at $58 was, $1,300 today. So that jump was like somebody's mortgage went to $1,900. I don't know.
No. So if he paid $50-something and it jumped to 70-something, that's like a 50% increase.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like if you paying $1,000, now you paying $1,500.
They increased the taxes. So I forget what it was.
And that's what
the value. I mean the price, the taxes,
the property taxes.
In order, I guess, for the people to buy these houses. But then when they got in, they said, "Well, we got to increase your taxes." So they increased the taxes, and that made put people on the plane. It was a game they were playing. Let you in at one thing, and a couple months time they done increased it up. We made a mistake or something.
Wow.
And what was wild is Inkster was actually like back then was supposedly like a very nice area. Like when Grandpa was like starting out, because most of Southeast Michigan was still farmland. Like up to a certain point. So it was like you have your own house and everything in a suburban area. You were doing
I'll tell you, when I moved out here, they said they said, watch out for cattle. It was cattle crossing, watch out for cattle. That's how rural it was,
Really?
Farmland, They got signs out. Watch out for the cattle crossing.
Now, what's
Wow.
interesting about that is, so Inkster was made by, what was it? Excuse me. Inkster was made by who? Henry Ford for his black employees back in the day.
Mm.
No, people keep saying Henry Ford built some houses or something like that, which I never knew. He didn't, But what he did do was everything. He let some of his employees get loans, and they built houses. There were a lot of houses were built by the employees, built their own houses, because they were able to get a loan from Ford Motor Company in order to build these houses. But I ain't never noticed any house that was built by, uh, you know, Ford Motor Company.
Maybe that was probably what they meant, like the loan situation.
I mean, a
But
lot
like
of people out here keep saying, Ford built this. But no, if you take if you go west of Inkster Road between Middle Belt and Inkster Road, Inkster Road, Middle Belt, going west, and those houses, a lot of them might still be, I don't know, might be a couple of them still built. I mean, still in existence. But that's where they were building them at, because this side of Inkster Road was kind of, it was a no-no, I guess, until about in the 50s.
well, you can see that in the differences between housing prices right now. So like
Mhm.
Inkster, Allen Park, Dearborn, and Westland are all relatively close to each other.
Yeah,
But the places still were like, so Grandpa bought his house $11,000, right? So what? I won't ask you how much that is, but the houses in Grandpa's general vicinity are worth about $30,000 to $50,000, right? So you would think, oh, that's a several times
Mhm.
increase. But you go to a city just next to it, same style of houses worth like 150,000, $200,000, and it's the same. It's the same story. It's just a different type of gentrification. They want
Mhm.
to keep certain people inside and certain people out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing, the values increased somewhat. I don't know what's going on because I keep getting a letter. Guy wants me to sell. Yeah, sell and go where?
That's the trap. Like, if someone came in and offered you $100,000 over your house next to it, you could find another home somewhere else, relatively close in Michigan. If someone buys your house now, like in Inkster, for like $50,000, you can rent someplace for a while and hopefully save some of that money, but you ain't gonna be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
And
But
like,
I could sell this house. I'm quite sure I could get pretty close to 100,000. Because remember, I got 8 rooms and 2 baths.
Oh wow.
On this particular house. Because this upstairs, and plus the ones, because it was addition added, and this particular room here is what with a full bath up here is 16 by 16, and the downstairs. So
yeah, but like not a lot of people added on to their house in the way that you did, Grandpa.
I was saying, I was talking about this particular house. Because Hank looked on there one day. I think he said something about 80 or 90,000, something like that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it. I was like, this is just interesting. Like, the corporations are like, legally just they got too much power, man. Like, you can
Mhm.
just throw money and just upset. Like, it reminds me of the story of like an interesting way to Mansa Musa, how they said how he will go through the world and upset the world economy by just dropping gold and stuff everywhere, and the value of stuff just got so out
That's
of
a good comparison. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like, people think that when you infuse wealth, and if you don't infuse money or capital in an area in a proper fashion, or in a way that it diffuses in such a way, not so quickly, but diffuses in a way where it benefits the area, you're gonna cause a blight. You're gonna cause an economic blight to that area.
That's exactly what we are experiencing now. Like DC is gentrified. You can't even really call it Chocolate City anymore. Like everybody is white. Everybody has a dog. Everybody's walking around at like 2 o'clock in the morning with their dog and their kid, and just safe, right? Which is nice, but but
That's
like
scary to me.
but the people who are native to that area and who likely depended on affordable housing, they're getting pushed into the suburbs, right? So I live in the suburbs, and now we're experiencing like crime exploding, and like petty crime, like people going through people's cars, people snatching people's bags and stuff, or like just stupid stuff where like it's like teenage kids, or you can tell that it's people that really can't afford to live here, and they're scrimping and scraping just to get by, and like stealing from people, rummaging through cars. And it's been an explosion in like the last few years where it's like all of that crime is going down into the suburbs now.
I know we were down. Me and Hank were downtown Saturday. Lexi graduated from Wayne State, and so we were down there. We were just riding around. The transformation there is unbelievable. I mean, they building so fast down there. You know, with the gentrification and everything. Mostly Caucasians riding bicycles. You can rent scooters. They
Mm-hmm.
took over Eastern Market. In fact, you wouldn't if you over the past few years you wouldn't recognize downtown Detroit. It's a beautiful place down there now. It really is.
It's wild. Like the you bring up that thing, people riding bikes, walking their dogs late at night. Because I
Yeah,
remember
when you see people jogging, riding,
That's how you know. You're like, okay, wait a minute.
when I
Something
moved
is
back
different.
when I moved back to Michigan from California a few years ago, I was driving back home after hanging out one night. You know, I'm going back to the east side, and I remember driving up Gratiot, and there was this single little small white woman rollerblading up the street at like 1:30 in the morning. And I
yeah.
thought to myself, like, do you know where you are? Like, are you aware of how unsafe this is preposterous. Like, and I knew, but like in the back of my mind, I'm like, she's gonna be fine. Cause like I remember a long time ago, this was just somebody told me this. I'm they were like, no drug dealer worth his salt is going to attack a white woman near where they sell drugs at. Like that's the dumbest thing to do in the world. So that when I because that voice echoed in my head, I was like, yeah, she's safe. Because nobody I mean, I'm sure that some idiot could have done anything, but people who are really into crime, who that's their occupation, they're not about to attack nobody.
Man, about
Exactly.
8 years ago, maybe it might even been longer than that now. I was downtown with Danny, like a bunch of people from the neighborhood, right? We went to the Princess. Remember that? I don't even know if that's still a
The
thing down
Princess
there.
Cruise?
What's the
The
princess?
boat, the
Yeah, the
boat,
Princess,
Oh,
yeah.
the
the
Princess
diamond.
Cruise. Yeah, so we did like a midnight cruise, drinking, get off the boat. And I remember, I'll never forget it. It was this little white girl walking this little dog, and the dog had like a vest on. I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, it's over. It's over. It's over. They done took the city." So she was downtown, right down. I was saying, "No, boy, I lost it."
Yeah. But
Chris
you
was
know
like,
what?
"What's the matter?" I said, "Do you see this? This is
That's like the
insane. I
universal
can't
symbol. It's
believe
like,
it."
oh,
But
it's
you
the
know
Oh
universal
my God.
symbol.
the
Yeah,
transformation.
we should have started buying property from that moment. That was
Yeah,
Ooh,
the transformation though was when you step by and
ain't
property.
good.
Is Belle Isle is one of the most beautiful islands, you know, around cities, and it's the transformation there. If the city
It's different now.
took it over to let the state take it over, uh, and they have I'm trying to Department of where they take care of parks and things.
Department of
They
Records
have
and Parks
state
and
police. In
Recreation.
other words, the state police and thing there. And now it's real safe there. But they have put some money into that island. It's just beautiful. They had our aquariums, and places for plants and stuff that they had closed down over the years because I saw the transformation when it went down. But now it's back. It's back to par. Like you say, the
And my,
little old lady walking
Mm-hmm.
her
and
dog.
and my
Somebody
Uncle Pooh Bear's time
it's
in the early
amazing.
'90s, and '80s and stuff. Well, my dad and Uncle Pooh Bear's time, Belle Isle during the summer was like a mini Freaknik. Like,
What? It was
Oh wow.
amazing.
like
Well, you know,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it was the cars. I remember as a little kid seeing cars just packed on there and like waves of people just doing whatever.
yeah,
And
I was caught on there
Yeah,
one
it was
day. I
amazing.
didn't know how bad it was.
Dangerous
The
though, but
traffic was jammed up. When I got down there to the ballpark, I was trying to find my way back. I wasn't going around no island because you could never get around it. Cars jammed and people, it was kind
yeah,
of
they
awful.
would just stop
The
playing the
quickest I
music
could
out
stop
there.
with
Was
them was to go across the ballpark and go back down toward the bridge. I said, I don't know no part of this.
yeah.
But that was
yeah, no
a case
more.
where the guy, do you recall when the young man killed a young girl, she bumped into him on the back of the bridge. Well, he didn't kill her, but he got out chasing her with a
Tire iron.
tire thing.
The
And
tire
she
iron.
jumped off the bridge and drowned it. You remember that? Anybody
I
remember
don't
that?
remember that at
No,
all.
it's
That sounds
crazy.
horrible.
I mean, that's how bad Belial was getting. You know, anybody with common sense wouldn't even go there. You know?
It's crazy because he probably
Yeah,
hit on her.
and they
She
didn't put any
probably
money
said
in
she good.
because I'd go out there and walk on a Sunday, you know, and the steamships coming up from Lake Erie or coming down from Lake Michigan. It was a beautiful island, but the trash, they didn't have no money to pick up the trash. You go out there on a Sunday morning and boy, the whole island just messed up with beer bottles, liquor bottles, and everything, you know. So you if you've been there, you would never recognize it no more because it's back to where it used to be when I was a kid, you know.
Yeah, man. It was. I know this is my last anecdote about this topic. I guess we'll move on. When we moved to our new house we were on the east side. Now we're basically 2 streets in on the west side. I remember taking Dad up the street to on the way to the house, and he was just like, "Wow," because we were on Woodward, right? And he was just like, "Wow." I remember when you never saw white people on this side of Woodward.
Now they out owning stuff. Like this is their neighborhood, huh?
It's something
Well,
else.
there's something on that side of Woodward, and I recall a time when that side of Woodward was loaded, you know, with Caucasians. In fact, both sides. In fact, we were concentrated. You've heard of uh, Black Bottom or the Paradise Lounge, Paradise Theater and stuff with Sammy Davis and everybody used to entertain at. But we were confined to a certain area, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you went east, it was Caucasian. You went west, it was Caucasian. If you was in the middle, that's where we was all at. You
reverse Oreo. Reverse Oreo.
Yeah.
Well,
I've seen changes, you know. Like I said, when I was a kid, I was beautiful. Then all of a sudden, it fell apart.
You know,
Now
it changes.
Been restored, you know.
Incremental changes, huh?
We have a drinking game where Grandpa starts talking about incremental change or
you gotta take a drink.
You gotta take a drink.
I believe that. I had to get off a Pooh's bandwagon and get back on that incremental change because I see so many changes going on now. And I'm just so happy to see what's happening. You know, you never knew it, so you wouldn't remember. You know,
you just disillusioned right now. Just like the scales fell from your eyes, they're gonna fall again.
No, this is for real.
It's all right. He'll be back.
Oh, Crystal.
Auntie's coming in hot. She's like, she heard people laughing. She was like, "Not without me."
Not without me.
Really? That's how you gonna introduce me to folks?
Oh, this is a resident.
What is my saying about the black woman?
What'd you say, Pops?
What do I always say about the black woman?
Oh, that we save the world. That we save the world.
We sure do.
No, they're gonna liberate the black man. That's what I see. And I see it every day on television, in the movies, you name it. We're gonna get free, but we're gonna need some help.
Well, you know what, Pops? In order for that to happen, y'all gotta actually listen to us.
Okay.
Just make it go a little bit easier.
This is true.
I hear you. I'm always listening.
Nobody like that. Like we don't like that.
Right. It was like crickets. Everybody was like,
quiet.
We say that was part of the deal. Yeah, y'all gotta actually listen and follow suit and follow instructions.
Yeah.
Nah.
Look at Joshua. Joshua over there having a mini seizure.
Yeah, I'm having a mini seizure, man. I'm good. It's hot in this room. I got a new light bulb.
I was just thinking, like, I need to open this patio door because it's stuffy. Hold on, I'm not about to stuff my stuff out for y'all.
Now that
we can talk down that nonsense while she gone.
No, I'm still right here.
You know, let's segue into that. Nancy, because you've been in the consulting game for a minute. Can you drop some of the gems for people who can understand that? I don't know, man. Like you were telling me the side of the consulting game that I'm trying to get to. Can you drop a little bit of that on there?
Yeah, I'll try to remember what I told you, but so I didn't realize how to play the game essentially when I first started, because obviously this is a white man's world, especially in tech. And so I was like, oh, like I'm gonna just follow suit. And I will say I have had a great mentor who like pulled me up along with him, and he is a white man, but he like saw something in me and was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna like help her out and bring her along the way. But I had to learn to negotiate, right? Like negotiate my salary all the time, never take the first salary that they're giving me. And I'm in the position that I'm in my full-time job, I hire people. And it got to the point where I would do interviews with people, especially if they're black women, and I would be like, let me tell you something. What did you ask for? No, you need to go back and ask the recruiter for this because I'm going to hire you, but tell them that you want this. Like, because no one is going to tell you that there's more money on the table. Usually, when someone tells you there's a salary, I give people a salary band, and I'm like, I have up to $20,000 more that I can go on that, usually, sometimes more. And if you don't ask for it, I'm not going to give it to you. But if you ask for it and I like you, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to negotiate and work with you to do that. The other thing that I've learned.
Let me stop you right there because people hearing this going to say, well, that's nepotism. I'm like, welcome to America.
No, it's not.
It's not because, yes, I benefited in my career, but everybody can, right? I've benefited in my career from having a manager who saw something in me and like looked out for me in terms of like made sure that I was available for opportunities or asked me if I wanted to have other opportunities. But aside from the like having someone that looked out for me, I had to prove myself, right? So I know that I'm good at my job. I know that I'm good at what I do. And he knows that like if he invests in me, it makes him look good. Because when someone vouches for you, number one, you got to make sure that you make them look good, right? And so he vouches for me. I'm never gonna do him dirty and like make him look like a fool in front of people when he's vouched for me. But I had to prove myself, and I had to prove myself by doing things even when I was not paid what I should have been paid to do it. I still did it at top quality to prove that like I am worth the same amount of money that you pay other people. And that worked out for me. Like he gave me a new position at one point, and I didn't ask him anything about salary. I didn't say any, I was like, yeah, I'm just eager to do it, right? Like now I would never do that. But like at that point in my career when I was much younger, I was like, oh yeah, grateful for the opportunity, happy to jump in there, happy to do the work. He gave me a $25,000 raise and took me to six figures after like 3 months. And he was like, you know why I did that? He was like, you never asked me about money. He said, you came in here, you did the work, you proved that you could do it. And he was like, and here's a $25,000 raise just on a humble Wednesday or something. Okay. It was just like, boom, come in my office. Here's $25,000 more to your salary. And I always learn. And from that point, I learned, I was like, okay, I have to prove myself, and people will be willing to give me that money. Now that I've proven myself, I can basically write my own check and ask for whatever I want to ask for. But I've also learned to negotiate. Like I didn't know the art of negotiation when I was like late 20s, early 30s. I was a little scared to like ask for more money. But then I would see what like some of my counterparts were getting paid. And I was like, wait a minute, we doing the exact same job. Like, how is it that he's making X amount of money and he will be a white man? And I'd be like, how is he making $25,000 more than what I'm making? And then I would just go in there and be like, well, maybe I'm not going to ask for the full 25,000, but I'm going to ask for this amount because I know we have the same rate. I know we have the same whatever. So I know you have the money. Ask for it. And every single time I've asked for it, people have given me what I've asked for. But most of the time people are scared to say something because they think that if they negotiate that they're playing hardball and someone is not going to accept them or they're going to take away an offer. Like my niece is 21 and she's negotiated 2 jobs, and I tell her, I'm like, what are they offering you? Okay, go back and ask for this. If they're not willing to give you X amount of dollars on your salary, ask them if they'll give you a signing bonus. Ask them if they'll put in bonuses for, throughout the year quarterly for a certain amount of money. Ask them for more vacation days if you don't have unlimited vacation. Like there's so many different ways that you can get more perks, but you can't get them if you don't open your mouth and say something. And if you say something, 9 times out of 10, people will be like, oh, yeah, let me go ask. Because a recruiter, A, wants to close out a job because they probably get a bonus for closing you out. So they're going to try to push with the hiring manager to close you out. So the recruiter is going to pass on whatever you ask for to the manager. And the worst that someone can say is no.
Well, that's the worst they're not afraid to ask. These white men ain't afraid to ask.
That part. They think
Okay.
that they are worth everything,
Right.
and 9 times out of 10, they're not.
Exactly. And the sad part is that they've been paid for potential forever. It's not
Yep.
about how you're saying now, you have the expertise, you have the experience, you have all of this stuff. Like you built your resume to actually match that, your compensation. But they never felt that way. And something that one of the best things I've heard recently when it comes to negotiations, charging your rates, whatever. There's someone we know, Ashley Kirkwood, amazing author and lawyer. She says, you will never be paid your worth, but you can charge your rate.
Yep.
And I was like, bam, that part right there.
How do you? Is there a way that you go about the negotiation? Is there a tone you take, or you just talk like? What did you just say directly? Like how?
I say it
What's the way to
directly.
go around it? Okay.
Perfect example. So the job that we work on together, I was working there, and then my boss calls me. We were friends at the time. I've known him for like 15 years at this point. He called me. He was like, "Hey, I got this opportunity. Do you want to come work at this other company?" And I was working at the company that we work at full time, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good. Like I have a job. I'm good." And he kept like prodding, like, "Come on, don't you want to come over here and like work?" And I said, "Here." I was like, "Let me tell you something. Here's what I'm making now. Here's what I intend to make because I'm getting an increase at this amount of time. Here's the bonus that I would leave on the table if I leave and I come right now. So, like, what are you willing to do for me to make this something that is worth my while to jump ship?" And so he went 20,000 over what I was making.
Mm.
He gave me a signing bonus to account for the bonus that I would have lost if I left. Like, luckily, the company we work for still paid me my bonus because they decided to keep me part time. So I still got my bonus and I got the signing bonus for the same amount of money.
Dog.
And the CEO of the company, he's around my age. He was like trying to appeal to me as well, and I was like, and don't get me wrong, at this point in my career, I am not scared to say anything to anybody about anything. So when I met the CEO and he was trying to convince me, I said, "So I went on your website. Nobody looks like me. Why would I want to work here?" And he was like,
That
I was
part.
like, "Yeah, there's no diversity." I was like, "There's no one who looks like me here." And I said, "So what do you intend to do to like change the way that your company looks so that it's reflective of the world?" And he was like, well, I'm kind of hoping that you could help me do that. I said, "Okay, here." And this is also how I negotiated. I said, and this is about to come into effect within the next few months now. I said, "If I come here and do this job for you all, I am not intending to do this, to be in this position for the rest of my career. So I will do this for this contract term, but my expectation is that if I do this well and I do this successfully, that I am then promoted into a VP position within your company, like at such time as I get you a contract renewal for this contract." And that is what I negotiated day one. And I
Mm.
just re-won the contract for them. So everybody's like, "Okay, so when are you going to move into your new position?" Like they honored that. But I asked for it up front because I was like, "Hey, I already have a job. So I have nothing to lose if I go in here and I just say, this is what I want. What you going to say? No? Okay, great. I can just stay working where I am. Or if you really want me and you really think that I can do a good job here, then you'll honor all of these things that I'm asking you to do." And they've gone above and beyond.
See, this is a moment where I just gotta just like bask in like the people are so around me. Like I watch my aunt and uncle who are building an empire, doing swell. That story you just said about how to negotiate like that, that's a master class on how to win right there. I'm grandpa over here just it's a beautiful episode. Like I'm really happy I got to experience this because like now my wisdom knowledge has gone up because now I'm like, okay, I didn't see other people do it, and I understand like this. They were like, hey, you don't got to kowtow. You just say what you say your plan and stick to it. That's really empowering to hear that because like you often hear like you just like I remember because I was telling you about the situation at the job I was trying to get a promotion, and like my manager was telling me that like normally like he slid in there, he didn't say that like from the beginning, but he was like normally people try to they recommend you for a promotion, and now it's just like, well, I didn't put my years in. Like I'm trying to get this money. But it's just interesting to hear. Like you were just like, yeah, I said these things that I wanted in this order, and they honored it. And I'm like, that's just wild because normally it's like the way it's presented, it's like a like he was saying, like you just gotta wait your turn, and you're like, no, I did what I was supposed to do.
Because I'm gonna tell you this, the amount of people, and because I am in tech, so the amount of white men that I interview on a regular basis, right, who report to me, who have less experience than I do, and the amount of times that they come back and try to negotiate things with me, and I'm like, you have 3 years of experience, sir. Like, you want me to get you an extra $40,000? You have 3 years of experience. Like, no, we're not going to do that. But like, they have no problem,
None.
like thinking that they
Sad.
are God's gifts to the world and that they should be called a senior, whatever, with 3 years of experience. I'm like, you are not a senior. You
Look
just got
here.
out of. You wouldn't even be a senior in high school with 3 years of
Oh,
experience. You would be a
come on.
junior. So, like, how do you
Come
now
on.
expect to be a senior?
What you trying to say, bro?
Like,
Sean, I had one. I appreciate it. So I haven't seen you. I watch you all the time. This is the second time on here. How y'all doing, Miss
Hey,
Sean?
hey.
Miss Sean, hey,
brother.
family. So Miss Smith, you said something that was interesting because Samira, I was over at Samira's house for Mother's Day, and one of her godparents came over, and he's an executive coach. That's what he does, and he does it for fun. He does it because he had a very long, prosperous career. So he does it out of like ministry. And one thing he said to me that resonated exactly what Miss Smith said is like understanding and knowing your worth. He's like, you have to be able to translate your time into dollars because that communicates across all levels. And it made me really stop and thinking. I was like, bro, do I know like how much value I bring? So he walked me through a couple of the stories he was talking about with a friend that worked at AT&T. He's been there for 16 years. Coached them. He said, hey, what you need to do is you need to go out and do a interview, like go interview at these couple places, see what they're basically going to give you. And what ended up happening was he found out like what his value was based off of, because he had just gotten his master's from like TCU or something like that. He just got his master's, but they were kind of playing around with them with the promotion. And so what happens is I think it's a generational switch of like loyalty. I think people are figuring out that like now if our culture can understand that like, hey man, I don't have this like loyalty to your brand. You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm gonna go where I feel there's wealth. And wealth could mean the monetary wealth, or it can be like PTO time. Like one of my friends doesn't make as much as me, but her PTO, she's like, I can do all this I want to, and that allows her the opportunity to do what she wants to do in life. That's wealth in itself. So I just find it just very interesting that this is the conversation we're having. And the real reason I asked Sean to send me a link is to backtrack to something you said before. Is there talking about the real estate market? Because I do mortgages all day. So absolutely, yes, they're driving up the price. Absolutely understand kind of what they're doing. Two, they don't get like what I found out is, and this is from Mr. Martin, is you have to watch, like you have to like watch where like white people go, bro. That's all it is. Like you literally watch, and this is the best advice Mr. Martin ever gave me. He's like, find water. He's like, white people love water, so buy something by the water. He's like, it no, at some point it's gonna be there. So buy something by water. And then also he's like, just start looking to see where they just start like kind of buying up. So like if I was smarter and I would have known like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would have bought up Woodward a long time ago when it was like real cheap, like going all the way down Woodward. And because he was like, oh, they're buying these things, they're buying these like certifications. Like Warren Buffett bought all those railroad. He bought like 80 or 90% of like the railroad tracks in America. Like why is Warren Buffett buying that? Like why? That's very like, he's not dumb. So is it going to be like high-speed trains going from like one city to another? Like what's going on here along this route? Like there's all these things that happen, these conversations that we're just not privy to, just because we don't know and we don't ask. So
And just to speak to his point about Woodward, like right across from the Little Caesars Arena, there's like this stretch of like condos, right? And like when I moved back home, I think they were selling them for like they were still building them, but some were already built. They were selling them for $250,000, and like, aren't they worth like $750,000 million right now? And that was like 5 years ago.
That's the one across the front. Is that where the Pistons play?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we done seen those.
Mm-hmm.
And like
and
that,
it's and all they're selling is this look of white people running around the street, just jogging, getting a little coffee. You know what I mean? Like that's what's being sold right now. That's the craziest thing to me. It just blows my mind. So yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's like buy you some bottled water, man. It's crazy. Watch
follow the Whole Foods, follow the Trader Joe's, and
the
follow
Whole
the Starbucks.
If the Whole Foods are there, it's like a bluebird. It's over. Like
I gotta say, I used to stand by that, but recently here in Chicago, in Inglewood, there was a Whole Foods that went there about 5-6 years ago, and they're closing down.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard it. Right? I was like, the Whole Foods, I was thought clearly, but I guess whatever the city plans, something must have fell through, and gentrification ain't about to happen just yet. So
right, Trader Joe's is taking over Whole Foods. Like I think they on.
I mean, Trader Joe's cookies, them little mini cookies, man. I do care. That's horrible for my.
Trader Joe's is the truth.
The other scam that I found out about, which blew my mind, was some of these places that are like listing their rental properties or maybe like it's an apartment. What they'll do is they'll say, hey, there's a $50 like application fee. And what they'll do is they'll price the rent below market value. So let's say in the area, you're going to rent this like 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartment for like $1,900. They'll list it for like $1,700. And then they'll be like, hey, there's a non-refundable $50 or $100 application fee. And what they'll do is they'll get like 11 or 1,200 hits of this application. And they'll literally make more money doing that than renting out the place.
Wow.
They found like it's like, hey, so they'll get the application fees.
That's a cold game.
I can't remember, Sean. When I find it, I'll send it to you.
That's cold-blooded, man.
Look at
Uncle Pooh looking at apartments right now. Let me get this whole building.
Right.
Yeah, it's like how many people applied? Like one was like 1,100 people that applied, and it was like at $100 a pop. The rent's $1,800, so they're just crashing.
Shut your mouth.
That's crazy.
That's why I told Sean, text me. Let me get on real quick so I can feel famous because you guys are amazing.
Your brother Steven be dropping gems, man. He's the inside man. I call him Quicken Loans Jesus.
Wait, man, your name is Stephen Barrett?
Yeah.
That was my first and favorite chiropractor's name when I was in a car accident in college. I love Dr. Stephen Barrett. I'll never forget that name. Now I love you even more. You know,
at least he the good one. There's one, if you Google the name, it's like this weird quack guy that got in trouble for a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to get my name up on a higher list so I don't get associated with this old white dude doing weird stuff.
Nah, this little white man changed my life, boy.
I'm gonna divert the conversation slightly.
Get it, man.
To Wayne State graduation.
Yeah.
The Wayne State. And guess who was there?
Oh.
Stevie Wonder. He got his doctorate honorary degree, doctorate honorary degree.
Oh, right.
And Carol went up to him and I forget what she says about I love you, She took a picture with him and she was telling, and he touched my head.
Oh, he didn't send a picture of them together.
She said, he touched my head. She loves Stevie Wonder.
That's cool.
So dope.
That's real
I knew
cool.
he was there, but
he sang at the graduation too, a little bit,
Yeah, I didn't know he got his doctorate either. I didn't know that was.
Oh yeah, him and
Dr. Wonder,
Fellowship Baptist and Wendell, Dr. Wendell, Dr. Wonder for you when I took you to see Dr. Jeffries and them.
Yes.
Yeah, Wendell, he was there. He got his doctorate. They gave him a doctorate too. Fellowship Baptist. He got a doctorate, honorary doctorate degree.
that's the only way I'm gonna get a doctorate degree. Like you've done something really successful if you get an honorary one. Yeah. Like people really thought you're a success. That's the only way I'm gonna get one. That's how you know you earned it. When people recognize you, they just want to give you one.
You know what's funny is I actually have a PR buddy. She just posted about that, but she did not say it that way. She was like, when you get an honorary doctorate, don't you run around calling yourself Dr. Nothing, especially when the last thing you got was a high school diploma.
I disagree, though. I
Like,
disagree.
if I got an honorary doctorate, I'm gonna be called the honorary Dr. Taylor.
Listen. I get a doctorate.
Oh, y'all gonna call me Dr.
I'm not
Taylor.
listening to nothing. I'm honorary doctorate, post, whatever you want, however
I'm not even responding to you unless you put doctor in front of my name.
If I don't at least,
I'm be sitting there like,
if you don't shorten it to doc, you know,
I'll be walking around with
Taylor.
jackets
That's my
with the
father.
elbow
He's
patches
not
on
around right
and a little pipe in my mouth all the time. Like he's an intellectual.
I think Taraji
I
P.
don't know
Henson
what,
just got hers from Howard.
I
did.
think
that might be who she was talking
he
about.
might have already had a doctorate degree, and this was an honorary one because oh mine getting kind of messed up. I can't think, but anyway, I think that he already had a doctorate degree.
Oh,
And then
Stevie?
he got the honorary one.
I think Stevie's gotten a couple.
The one he's in charge of NAC. Detroit is the largest NACP chapter in the United States, and he's the president of the NAACP here in the Detroit area, and that's the biggest one. And he's been in there for about maybe 20 years or so. You know, he's been president of the NACP.
It wouldn't surprise me if Stevie Wonder got
that is.
a doctorate.
Huh?
Yeah, I think Stevie Wonder has a few honorary doctorates. I'm looking.
Oh yeah, I'm quite sure he does. You know.
I mean, so I know how you said like some people don't deserve it, but in the event, in the example of Stevie Wonder, for the things that he did in the world of music, like that's doctoral level stuff right there, and maybe even beyond it. Like people still sample his music. Like when you
will.
When you get sampled forever, then you've changed the world. You deserve.
I mean, basically, our PhDs, right, demonstrating that they are experts in a particular area. You know, one research.
Means you can't get any higher. It's considered a terminal
this
degree.
person spent 20, 30 years executing. You know, at an expert level, it's like, you know, hey.
Especially when you're blind and you're able to do all the piano the way he does and all that, and he overcame all those things.
Don't say that, nephew.
No, I'm just thinking about. I'm not saying it anyway. I'm thinking about in the sense that he overcame so many things, and he's like one of the best ever to do music, despite all those things. That's just incredible to me. You know, you may have took it the wrong way, but I meant that.
Incredible to me. I'm with you on incredible.
No, yeah. I'm not. I'm saying his talent is just amazing, just as is. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in putting limitations on people because they have what deems to be some type of physical limitation. You know what I'm saying? So I would rather just honor him for who he is, as opposed to saying he's this in spite of. You know what I'm saying? Because all of us have in spite of. You know, like shit, being a black woman, black man, that's a damn handicap. Let's be real.
He did a lot of social good. They brought that up too. All the things he done throughout the year, you know. He done a lot of social good too, you know.
Yeah.
He was just talented and everything, but they were saying some of the things he done in the community, you know. That was good. It was real nice. Yeah.
It looks like he also has one from Rutgers. It looks like I may as well just look up his list, but I definitely see Rutgers too.
That's impressive. You have a list of doctorate degrees.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. That's why I said I need to just look it up. I was just scrolling through Howard. At this point, let me look up his list because I'm over here trying to skim through.
Because I'm sure he has more than a few from some HBCUs.
Yeah, he has to. But Fred, I'm with you though. Like you said, it's a terminal degree. You can't do any better. So why even go to a school to try to teach me what I've already done many times over?
Stevie Wonder. You know what I'm saying? Who gonna teach Stevie Wonder?
Thank you. Cheers to Dr. Wonder.
Dr. Wonder.
Like for real, he should be teaching a lot of this stuff. So
right.
I'm a fan. I'm like you, Joshua. When any accredited university decides to give you an honorary degree, and some of it is just for publicity and all that, sure. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of other people that could have been chosen, and they don't have to give out honorary degrees. So the fact that a school acknowledges whatever your efforts are, whether it is public health, whether it's music, it doesn't matter. It's still amazing, and you take your doctorate and be proud of it. Hell, I'll be sitting here with my diploma back behind. If y'all think I stay here with my trophy, Well, I'll be sitting here with my doggone robe on. Oh, speaking of robes, Duty. I'm sorry, excuse me. Go ahead, Pops.
No, keep her talking.
I was going to say, Stevie Wonder, he kind of smoothed it out with the finishing thing. He sang, is there a song, I just want to say I love you? Something like that.
I just called to say I love you.
Oh, yeah. I just called to say I love you.
Oh, yeah. He ended that, you know. It was a real nice affair.
Don't do it, Freddie.
Let's
Don't do it.
While that's happening, you know, I know it's kind of getting close to the time. Well, it's past the time. We got to wind down, but hopefully Auntie's thing get there when it's her turn to give her final thoughts. But Nancy, since you are our guest today, why don't you give your final thought? Thank you for coming on the show. This was wonderful.
Absolutely.
And can I also get the information on how to follow you? Because I actually
follow me.
Go back then. You're right, Auntie. You got it. Like, so Nancy, if you got anything you want to give out, anything you want to plug, like a side business, a hustle, anything. Auntie, thank you so much. I
don't think I have a side business.
Done this in a while.
Yeah,
but I was going to say that I have some people I want you to connect with, Nancy.
Absolutely.
Some great synergies. So
absolutely.
That's why I want to make sure I talk to you after the show. That's okay.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. No, thank you for inviting me. This has been great. Like, I think this is super, super dope that you all are doing this together as a family. Like, I just think it's dope. If people want to follow me, they can follow me on Instagram at Sunny Black, and that's SUNYBLACK.
Let me put this on let me make a banner. You said
at Sunny Black. So it's at SUNYBLACK. And don't ask. I got that nickname in college, but you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is completely open, so feel free to follow me. I'm on LinkedIn under, I think, Nancy Smith PMP or something like that. I'll shoot you over my LinkedIn link, Sean, if you want to give that to people, and you all can connect with me there. She's back with her robe or cape.
Okay.
But it has been a pleasure. Like, and if you ever do, invite me back, I am happy to join. Just give me a heads up so I can clear my schedule for the afternoon around this time. But this has been great, and I appreciate you all connecting with me and bringing me on.
Don't hang up because
I'm not.
After we get off live, that's when Auntie gonna get her, y'all can trade your information.
Okay, cool.
I'm already pulling up on LinkedIn. I already got on IG.
All right. Well, Uncle Pooh, what's your final thought?
I can't believe she went and got this cape. Oh, that's excellent. No, she loves her cape. But I guess my final thought is, I wonder how can we capitalize on the trends that are happening. Might as well make some money. They gonna make some. And what happened to Cuba? Man, we're gonna have to get that.
What did you say about Cuba?
That's another thing we gotta drink too is Cuba, Nancy, if you don't know. But,
I love Cuba. They've been getting a bad deal, but I remember when they first got that bad deal, when they started doing good things. Prior to that, before Castro, they was killing black folks like they was killing flies. Then all of a sudden, Castro got in there and took a country which was 90% illiterate, made it 99% literate. Got doctors going all over the world, doing everything, and they got one thing. It would show a prime example of what could happen if the United States would get their foot off their back. Let them people alone. 12 million people, they've been helping people all over the world, doing good things. Ask Mandela when he went there and said, he may not be your friend, but he's my friend, that's just the way it is,
For people who don't know, that picture of Castro and Mandela was taken by Grandpa.
And history's going to prove them to be right, They haven't got no credit for what they've done.
Agreed.
Not at all. We're going to get there. All right, I found out it take 30 to 40 days.
I got my backpack.
It take 30 to 40 days to get our visa, so we need to go ahead.
If you wait too long, Uncle Pooh Bear, Grandpa gonna build himself a canoe and just take himself.
He can go for it. I don't know what's out there.
That's where a lot of people got over here. News. Castro
Well,
said,
y'all
"You
just-
want to leave, leave." And everybody had money, and they took it. They left.
No, Grandpa, they'll meet him halfway and pick him up by boat on a yacht, take him there to his rightful place.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the head of this throne. Huh?
Like they won't reach out a hand; it'll be a beer to help him onto the boat.
You must be thirsty.
Well, Auntie, now that you're in your robe, we want to give you a final thought.
Excuse me, can you repeat that again?
Auntie, now that
It
you're
is not a robe.
what is it?
It's the cape.
Oh, okay. Now that you're in your cape, what would you like to give your final thought?
Hey, Crystal,
Yes, sir.
my incremental change. You know, I jumped off the wagon and got with Freddie. I'm back on that incremental change because we moving on up. I'm saying they ain't coming back no more.
Well, you can't go back when you're at the starting line.
Freddie went on past history where you move up and then they push you back, you know. But this time, no, we on the way up. It ain't coming back that way.
Okay.
Incremental change. A little, and it's slowly. It ain't no overnight thing, but it's slowly.
Oh, we know it's slow.
But
Very.
change is coming.
Okay, most optimistic person I've ever met in my life.
For now.
Well, your turn.
Well, I just had to get the best Mother's Day gift ever. So my children gave me a cape for Mother's Day. And it's so funny that most people think it's because it means I'm super mom, which we can claim that too. That they got it because I'm super petty.
Yeah.
And that makes it even better for me. I love it even more.
Show the cape. We can't
So
see
now,
it.
now I walk around the house in my cape.
Why come you didn't put the cake on display? Let us see it. Put the boys there.
That's actually a nice made cape.
It is. It is nice.
And
Why come you didn't show it to us?
Can you make her big? Maybe
because I
that'll be-
forgot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me see if I can zoom
There
out.
you go.
There we go.
She really done got a cape.
Oh, he
y'all.
got a
Got a
hood.
hood on and everything.
She
Oh,
walks
my
around the house in this cape, y'all.
You know what?
This is outrageous.
I can't hear, but I thought you said the boys made a cake.
They got me a cape because they said I'm super petty.
Nancy said DC, and I thought she said GT.
Well,
So I don't know my final thoughts. Sorry for being late.
You got my grandmother used to tell me.
hold on. Let me wind down.
When you
Let me
came
wind-
in,
Let me wind it down so y'all can talk after the show real quick. So that,
Oh, I got one thing I do want to say real quick publicly.
Okay.
As soon as I came on, Nancy's hair was just giving me all the life.
Thank you.
Yes. I had to say that.
Thank you.
Well, that was episode 140, y'all. Almost 3 years in. So
Wow.
we'll be here next week. Maybe we'll get another guest. This is 2 weeks in a row. We might get back to having guests again. So thank you again, Nancy. Don't hang up. We're about to just end the broadcast. We'll see you guys next week.
The pandemic is over. They can travel virtually again.